How's it going? Welcome to Sunny Sheets. I'm Carson and we're back with, yet again, another book chat. I just finished the first Pendergast novel by Preston and Child. This is Relic. It's a funny story. I mentioned this in the last video, but the way that I got to this book is that my dad and my older brother read Still Life with Crows, which I think is the fourth Pendergast novel, and they said that that book was incredible, and it was like just a book that was extremely memorable to them, and apparently the ending is just crazy, and I really wanted to read it. And in several chain and secondhand bookstores, I have seen over a dozen different Preston and Child novels, and I have yet to find Still Life with Crows once. So I think at a certain point I gave up and I was like, well, you know what? I saw Relic, I saw it was the first Pendergast novel, and I was like, you know what? I'll just read this one. I'll start here, see how I like it, and then maybe proceed with more Pendergast books, more Preston and Child books. So the plot revolves around this museum that has an exhibit opening in about a week, and this exhibit is crucial for the museum's finances and for its reputation and whatnot. Like, they really don't want to cancel this exhibit opening up, but they've had a pair of kids and I believe a security guard or just like an adult who have been like brutally murdered. I mean, their bodies have been found and autopsies done that confirm that it could not have been done by a human. Just the strength required to do what's present on the bodies. Like they confirm it was not a human that could have done this. So it adds this tension where people like kind of find out that people are being murdered in the museum that they work in, but you kind of have the upper management of the museum who are kind of like, we're gonna like open the exhibit anyway, like whatever, it's no big deal. Hopefully no one gets murdered again, and we're just gonna continue with the opening. And the whole murder mystery is revolved around what is killing people and trying to discover what it is and what its weaknesses are and what to do about it. It's basically the plot, basically the whole plot of the book. So I have mixed opinions about the book. The first half I thought was kind of boring. I mean, I understand that there was a lot of setup required and you gotta understand the relationships of characters to other characters, and there's a lot of setup, but it felt pretty boring. There was a lot of museum administrative stuff going on, and this person's in a lab, and this is like, I don't know, this book to me was starting to feel like a thing to check off, and I was feeling I can't wait to finish this. Not necessarily for the hype of getting to the conclusion, but just for like being done with it. I don't know. The first half was a little boring, but I will. And one problem with books like this, you know, I'm a big fantasy reader, and fantasy is really big about personal struggles and emotions and character growth, and I understand it's just kind of the nature of murder thrillers. You're not reading these kind of books for deep character development and character arcs. I mean, you're just reading like a fun thriller story, but I feel like that doesn't necessarily negate the fact that I just didn't really care about any of the characters. Really, the only character is there's a particular antagonistic character to Pendergast, and he's just extremely unlikable, but other than that, I didn't really feel any strong emotions for anyone. You know, people were getting murdered, and I didn't really feel much because you don't know any of these people. So I don't know, I just feel like the first half of the book was very like, pretty dry, pretty boring, not a lot of emotional investment. I will say the atmosphere is really good. Just the creepy, dusty atmosphere of an old museum with these archives in the back and storage pods that date like 80 years. I mean, there's lots of ancient, old, archaic stuff. So it definitely had a good atmosphere to it. But I couldn't help but feel a bit bored in the first half and kind of like, I don't care about any of these characters and we're just kind of setting up for what's going to happen. But I do have to say that when the climax hits, it hits. I mean, shit goes bad instantly, really fast when the exhibit opens, and that was pretty interesting, and all of the different pieces that get set up just culminate in this just disaster when the exhibit opens, which was pretty fun. So the second half definitely like The second half definitely, I wouldn't say made up for the first half, because the first half was pretty boring, but it was a good climax. It was very enjoyable, and I blitzed through this book because I was pretty, like, I wanted to see what was going to happen. And one thing that I have to say that is not the book's fault at all, it's purely my fault, but I spoiled the whole major conclusion by accident. And I don't even want to say how. Like, I was Googling stuff, and I skim read basically the big mic drop ending of the book, which really sucked. I mean, I don't think me not having had that spoiler would have greatly changed my view on the book. I mean, I think my views on the book would be the same, but that really sucked. I spoiled what, like, the big reveal at the epilogue, not even the conclusion, but the epilogue I spoiled. So that didn't help, but all right. I don't know. I think overall, this thriller just felt a bit too basic. I mean, when I read thrillers, I want to feel really uncomfortable. And easily the best thriller I've read so far was Misery by Stephen King, which that one is just tense as hell. I mean, you're feeling the agony and the suffering that's going on physically and mentally to, like, Paul Sheldon in Misery. But this book, it was just a lot of people you don't care about that are just getting murdered. And that's kind of it. You know, I mean, there's not really a lot to tell about this book. There's no deep wisdom. There's no crazy battles. There's no huge character development. It's just kind of, there's something killing people under the museum, and it's an FBI agent and some cops trying to protect people in the museum. I don't know. I didn't feel too strongly about it overall. It was all right. It was enjoyable. The first half was kind of slow and boring. The second half was pretty good climax, but I don't think that fully makes up for the first half. So overall, it was all right. I'm glad to finally have a book chat like this, because I don't want it to seem insincere when every book chat so far has had really high ratings, but now I promise I'm honest, and we finally hit a book that I can do a book chat on where I felt kind of meh about. It was okay. It was all right. This was a 6 out of 10 for me, which isn't bad. I mean, it wasn't a bad book, just didn't really have any high peaks. It was kind of like, that was fine. It was an all right read. The single moment in this book where shit hit the fan was actually an accident, which I find kind of funny, because in most, like, thrillers and antagonists, everything's deliberate. It's an action that was taken by the enemy to make something happen. But in Relic, the guard, there's a guard in the night of the exhibit who, he's kind of under watch in the sub basement, and he hears a noise, and he gets real scared, and he just kind of he fires his shotgun, he blasts the breaker box, and the whole power system fails. That causes all of the security, like solid steel security doors, to drop, and all of the guests and everyone gets stuck in the museum because of this guy's, like, incompetence, which is hilarious. I don't know. I thought that was really funny, and that guard was like, oh shit. And everything goes horribly wrong from that point on. Tons of people get murdered by the museum beast that they dub the museum beast. FBI agent Coffee was just dead set on there being only one exit. He didn't want multiple entry points, so he leaves one single exit that ends up getting blocked, and all of the civilians get stuck in the museum with the beast. So that was crazy. And yeah, just the whole culmination of people stuck in the basement, and it's pouring rain outside, so the sub-basement level is starting to get flooded with, like, chilling, like, ice cold water. And yeah, it was a pretty crazy climax. It was pretty interesting. And yes, the spoiler that I mentioned in the spoiler-free section, I wanted to Google a picture of this monster. I didn't know if this was a real-life myth or not, so I Googled just the name of Mab1, and I went to click on Google Images, but my eyes accidentally skimmed the name. His name was Whittlesey in the expedition to get the relic. His name was Whittlesey, and I saw the name Whittlesey in the description of the monster, and I was like, oh my God, that's him. And I read that, like, less than halfway through the book. So, like, I read the whole book knowing that the monster was actually the original expeditioner. So That kind of sucked, having that mic drop spoiled for like over half of the book. And funny enough, I kept referring to the Pendergast novels as like, it is a detective series, but every book being a standalone thing. But I didn't know that book 2 is a sequel to Relic. It's a direct sequel, a reliquary. So I've been wrong about that. I'm pretty sure all of the other novels are standalones, but the second book does follow the events of Relic, and I'm probably not going to read it. I still want to read Still Life with Crows, but I'm probably not going to read any of the other Pendergast novels. They just didn't pique my interest that much. And yeah, that's really all I've got to say. You know, in book chats, I have a lot more specific things to say, but this book, there just really wasn't much for me to latch onto. No super crazy memorable character moments, or I didn't really think any of the murders were super crazy. They were definitely gory, and the autopsy was super gory, but just not a lot of tension. Not nearly as much tension as I was expecting to feel. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about Relic. So yeah. So on to, what am I reading next? What is my next book? And it is so predictable, guys. It's book 4 of the Gunmetal God series, Dark Drinker. Now, this is the last book that is out right now. So when I read this book, I will be caught up with the Gunmetal Gods, and I'm going to take quite a break. I'm going to take a decent break from book series. I'm going to read a bunch of other standalones. I'll have a lot more unique stuff to talk about for the book chats, and I'm just ready to read a bunch of these standalones on my bookshelf. I've got some really good ones on there, I think. So yeah, that'll be exciting. I will have, if you saw my video, the next 6 book series that I want to read / get caught up with, this will be the first one. So that'll be a dub. That'll be the first book series that I'll be caught up with from that list. So yeah, I'm reading Dark Drinker by Zamil Akhtar. As always, if you made it to this point in the video, you have my gratitude for hanging and chilling and vibing with me, talking about a book that was all right. But, you know, not every book can be a banger. You need the books that you don't enjoy as much, or that you just don't like. You don't need them, but I think it's beneficial to read those kind of books to challenge yourself and see what kind of stuff you don't like, and, you know, just kind of hone in your taste a little bit. Before you go, you don't have to watch, but just keep your ears peeled. I'm going to, per tradition, read you a book quote on your way out. Let's see if we can get something nice here. Let's see. God's grove was as it always was, perfumed by the scent of a million trees, silent except for the soft sounds of leaf rustle and wind, colored in halftones and pastels, the sunset igniting the literal rooftop of the world as an ocean of treetop caught the light, each leaf shimmering to the breeze, glittering with dew and morning showers as the breeze rose and carried the smell of rain and wet vegetation on her platform high above the world, still sunk in sleep and darkness half a kilometer below. The Fall of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. Thanks for hanging with me.